The thought crossed my mind with what's going on in regards to COVID-19 and the proper concern together with toilet paper panic. There is a proper concern. However, there are far more people dying of other diseases that no one's talking about every day. But because we are accustomed to it, then we aren't talking about it. There are more communicable diseases, though it's very communicable. There are deadlier diseases, though it's primarily deadly in regards to certain people and certain conditions. Average age of the person who's died so far is 80. And the reality is, Italy is getting hit harder because of pre-existing conditions and because of the older population. I wasn't aware of this, but the average Italian is over 10 years older than the average American. It's a very aging population. And having been there, I know that a lot of the places are very small. People are close to one another, easy to carry stuff around. And all Italians talk with their hands, and they hug and they kiss. And that's just. They do what? A lot. Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of the Chinese are behind a lot of this stuff. That's another subject for another program, I think. But anyway, the reality is that there's a lot of concern, and certainly when you have older relatives, friends, things like that, these individuals should be protected. And I personally think the handshake is done. And I hope so. I hope so. When I think of how many hands I have shaken over the years and then gone into a restroom and immediately washed or had hand sanitizer and everything else. And, in the back of my mind, there was always this, this is not the smartest thing we've ever done. When we think about COVID-19, this is sort of in regards to the debate that's still scheduled on morals and God. From an evolutionary perspective, now, just really quickly, I was a biology major at a Christian college, but I was the only creationist in the biology department. All my professors were minimally theistic evolutionists. And so in high school, public high school, I had, still one of my favorite teachers. In fact, when they ask you to fill out, who your favorite teacher was, I still use this teacher's last name because I won't tell you more than that because then all my accounts will be compromised. But he would bring me articles, college level articles, university level articles on Darwinism and neo-Darwinian micro-mutational evolutionary theory, and we'd sit there at lunch and we would have long conversations and battled through this stuff. Had to do the same thing at university. I remember Dr. Ned Grossnickel was one of my professors. Best limnology teacher ever, but that was about the only class that he was the best limnology teacher in. But he knew limnology like the back of his hand, but from an evolutionary perspective. And so on these long trips where we're going out to do surveys, so I battled through a lot of this stuff. And so when I graduated, I read, the first book I read after I graduated from Grand Canyon, could have had a BS. I should have taken the BS. I took a BA, but I had finished the work for either one. Was Dawkins. It starts with D. Dawkins' book. And, The Blind Watchmaker and Selfish Gene. And I went after all those books as they came out to read them and familiarize myself with the Darwinian viewpoint and understanding. And if you are familiar with those books, then you know that from the Darwinian perspective, getting your genotype into the next generation is the greatest good. Now, Darwinists have come up with really very, very brilliant, they've had to put some real thought into this, reasons why you might have some members of a community that you sort of sacrifice to try to fit Darwinism into a certain social modes. But the reality is that if nature is just red in tooth and claw, that it is merciless and pitiful, has no pity upon anyone, then the Darwinian perspective is that COVID-19 is good. COVID-19's one of the greatest things that I think man has ever designed, because I think it was. Why? Look what it does. Who does it kill? And who doesn't it kill? Doesn't even seem to affect kids. Just, they're like, okay, that was done. And that's it. So it doesn't kill the members of the population that can reproduce. Who does it kill? The weak. It's natural selection as a virus. It is a natural selection virus. So it kills the elderly, who are, from a Darwinian perspective, a drain upon society and a drain upon the population. They've already fulfilled their purpose from the Darwinian perspective. I mean, that's really what was behind, was it Ryan's Run? Logan's Run. Was that the one where at 20, they went up in this thing at 25 years of age and poof? Okay. That was a long time ago, man. Yeah. Anyway, well, 25 was a long time ago for you and me, but the movie was even longer than 25 years ago. But that's the same thinking, is that from a Darwinian perspective, once you've had your kids and invested yourself in raising them and they're ready to have kids, you should just be done away with. You're a drain, you're worthless. And so the other people it kills, people with pre-existing health conditions. In fact, do you know who it's killing in Italy? Obese people. Obesity. Diabetes, heart issues. If you're not in shape. Hey, this is Darwin's greatest dream. COVID-19 is the natural selection virus. It really is. And so from a Darwinian perspective, and what else does the world have to offer? I understand that in Western culture today, it's all based on feelings. Talking about Darwinism this way and saying, hey, COVID-19 is the perfect Darwinian natural selection virus. It prunes, it improves, it literally improves the herd. COVID-19 for humanity does what we do with our crops. You prune, if you're looking at a branch in a vine and you want it to produce more fruit, you cut out the bad stuff. The stuff that's taken away the life of the vine. Only leave the good stuff. That's what COVID-19 does. Get rid of the old, get rid of the infirm, don't kill the kids, we're good. So, from a secular perspective that actually takes seriously the scientific basis of secular thinking, what's wrong with that? What's the problem? How is that wrong? Why isn't that something that's being celebrated as something that's good? I can guarantee you that there are Darwinian geneticists who are celebrating this. They will not say that publicly, but in the privacy of their own brains, they're sitting there going, man, this is the best thing that could happen. Best thing that could happen. You're getting rid of the old. You're getting rid of those that are just a drag on society. And you're getting rid of the infirm. These are people that are taking up resources that can be used for the more genetically advanced. And isn't that what we're saying is good about designer babies and stuff like that anyways? Isn't that what's behind aborting girls and only having boys and stuff like that? Isn't that the same mindset? We just aren't consistent about it. Something to think about. Something to think about, because if we are getting to the point where we are electing to office those people who will use their authority to create a totalitarian state where the state determines morality and ethics, and this is the only foundation they have, then why are we panicking about COVID-19?